and welcome back for another CottageCutz video tutorial and my last Christmas card of the season. Today I'm using the Winter House Accessories die set. This die set is packed full of critters and cars, anything to help you create a village scene. I think that this is a fantastic addition to the Winter Houses 1, and today I'm also using the Winter Houses 2. I am giving away the Winter Houses 2. The winner will be announced in my next video. I'll have more information on that, as well as the winner of my last giveaway shortly. Here's a look at the Slimline dies that I'm using. As I said, I'm creating a Slimline card. This is the Mountain and Tree Slimline. I have crystal stickles, distress glitter, distress embossing glaze. I have distress oxide and picked raspberry, cracked pistachio, wilted violet, stormy sky, hickory smoke, and then distress ink in black soot. I did cut out my mountains so that I knew where to place my northern lights. I am going to have to trim the bottom off those mountains because I did cut them a little bit high, but I want to make sure that I have the right placement for my lights. If you've ever seen the northern lights, you know that they have greens and pinks and purples. I wanted to make sure that I incorporated all of those colors. The northern lights are going to be lower in the sky, so I want to make sure that they're more towards the bottom of, they're peeking out from the back of my mountains. And then I'm going to come in with some darker colors just to add that dark sky that would be above the northern lights. I added a little bit of picked raspberry, and finally I'm going to add the wilted violet. Now I'm using distress oxide ink because it is opaque. That means that it is going to be easy for me if I want to add, for example, I'm going to need to add more green to this. I'm going to be able to add that green over that wilted violet, and it is going to show through. If I were to use the distress inks, which are more transparent, those colors are going to blend just a little bit more, and they're going to create a whole new color, and I didn't want that. So here's where I'm adding that chip sapphire to get that dark sky at the top. And now I'm going to bring in a little bit more of that cracked pistachio, which is why I was dry fitting the mountains to make sure that you could see that green underneath. And finally, I'll go around the edges with my distress ink in black soot. And again, I used the distress ink because it is transparent and it is going to allow me to allow that chip sapphire to show up a little bit underneath. You saw that I did have that little bit of whoopsie where I picked up the wrong brush, and again I was able to cover it up with that cracked pistachio because it is opaque. I'm going to add some splattering to my sky with some white gouache and a paintbrush. You'll notice that I do contain my splatters in a deep box because I want to make sure it doesn't splatter all over my desk because it's not fun to clean up. So make sure when you're doing your splattering that you do use a box to help contain that. I've cut out the cap to my mountain, and I did trim off the bottom so that it's going to fit nicely on my card panel, and those green colors are going to show through. I'm going to use some art glitter glue, and this is just adding so much dimension to those mountains. I'm going to use my art glitter glue again, and I'm going to glue this panel down. I did cut a hillside because this is a snow scene, so I wanted to make sure to add some snow. So I have another piece of white cardstock down there below that you can see that I'm going to add to my scene. So there are lots of layers of white on this card to give us a little bit of a frosty feel. I'm going to trim off any of the excess on the left and right side. My finished card is going to be 3 3 3/4 by 8 3/4. So I did color all of my images off camera. Some of them I used Distress Oxide. Some of them I colored with Copics. The trees I used ice spruce, and I want to add a little bit more frostiness to it. So I've added some glue to the edge of the branches and down the middle of the tree, and then I'm just tapping it into that Distress rock candy, which is just a white frosty glitter that's really pretty. And I'm going to do the same thing to my snow caps. Where I come from in the Rocky Mountains, the snow there is really glittery. So of course I needed to add that extra glitter to the snow caps and also to my snowbank. I do set this aside to dry for just a little bit, and once I feel like it's tacky enough that I can start building my scene, I bring in my other pieces. So I'm going to glue this down, and then we're going to start building our little winter village scene. Now, I did mention that I am giving away the winter houses too, and that there was a winner from the last video. I want to say congratulations to Vivian C. You did win the bear in tent, and the Scrapping Cottage was so generous that they decided to give you a second die set. So they're also going to give you the campfire and signs. I will have Mary Marsh's information in the description box below. You do need to email her and let her know you are a winner. So congratulations to you, Vivian. And again, in order to win the winter houses too, all you need to do is be a subscriber to our channel. Make sure you like this video and leave me a comment below. So I'm doing what I call dry fitting or staging. I'm trying to place everything down that I've created to make sure that I like the placement before I add my glue. I started with this tree in the middle of the pink house and the purple house. You'll also notice that my houses are the same color as the Northern Lights sky. I really like that continuity in my card making, so I do try to use the same colors throughout. I backed each of the windows on my houses with a piece of cardstock that I colored with my Copic marker yellow, because I wanted to make sure that you knew that everybody was home and everybody was awake. To the house on the left, I did add a teddy bear to the window, and you'll notice that I'm lifting up the branches on this tree. So I did not glue the branches down. I just added glue down the middle. I wanted that tree to appear to be in the front of the house, and so I wanted those branches to hang over on the house. Now, the one on the right, I want to make the tree behind the house, so I will place my house. I'll glue it down in front of that tree. We do have a frosty snowman, and we also have some more accessories for the houses that I'm going to add in just a few moments. I just didn't put everything on at once. I wanted to do my dry fitting, and then I was just going to add a little bit more detail to my card. That's one of the ways that I like to create, by adding that added sparkle with the glitter, by adding stickles, adding little extra pieces to my scenes just to add more interest and detail. I love this little doggy. I decided that the doggy was going to be sitting outside the house. He might be a little chilly. I'm going to use this lamp post, and that is going to be where my little snowman sits. I added some wreaths to the houses. So there's a couple houses that I did add wreaths to. And I love, again, as I mentioned, that Winter House Accessories has all these little pieces that really do help create a very cohesive and detailed scene. I'm going to add my sentiment here, and I made a little bit of a mistake here. I should have stamped using the Distress Oxide ink in Cracked Pistachio, because I am going to use the Cracked the cracked pistachio distress glaze. The distress glaze is more transparent than a regular embossing glaze. A regular embossing glaze is going to be more opaque. And so when you use the embossing glaze, it takes on some of the color behind it. So because I used a transparent Versamark ink, it is going to turn more of a grayish purple because it's taking on, it's mixing that green with the colors that are behind it. I am going to add my card panel to a top folding slimline card base that is finished at 8 3/4 by 3 3/4 as I mentioned. And once I get this all aligned, I am going to add the window sashes. Wait, it's not the sash. It is the sash. I'm going to add the sashes to the windows. For the dormer, I needed to add the roof line, and then I'm going to add some snow to the top of that trim. So I needed to make sure my window was trimmed. And here's where I'm going to add those little sashes to my window. I wanted to make sure that I didn't cover up the bear at the bottom, so I did make sure that I kept it a picture window, which wouldn't have any of those sashes on there. And here's where I'm adding that crystal stickles to each of the snow-lined areas where the chimneys are, the top of the roof. I'm also going to create little tree wells. So again, more detail on the card at the bottom of my tree. And then that's going to be it for me today. So this is my last Christmas card for you. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I want to thank you for following the CottageCutz YouTube channel. Make sure you head over to the blog and show them some love. Here's a look at my card. Have a Merry Christmas, and until next time, have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for watching.